Pnawn da. Cynulliad Cenedlaethol Cymru I drefn. Item 1, cwestiynau I brief weinidog. And question 1, Kirsty Williams.
Will the First Minister make a statement on ambulance services in Brecon and Radnorshire?
Yes, I'm encouraged to note the latest available ambulance response time figures show Category A performance in Powys was better in December 2013 than for the same period last year, in 2012.
First Minister, figures recently released by the Welsh Ambulance Trust showed that ambulances in Powys are answering almost 1/5 of their calls in other local health board areas. This means that many of my constituents are potentially being left without proper ambulance cover. When I raised this issue with you last June, you said you would investigate the matter. What did those investigations reveal?
There's no reason to suggest that there is a lack of cover in Powys, and we see that, of course, because of the figures that I've just mentioned to the member from December of last year. In terms of responses, including, of course, air ambulance responses, we know that people in Powys do get to hospital quickly when they need to, despite the rurality of the county. Of course, there will be some communities where ambulances do cross the LHB borders, if I can put it that way, or even the county boundaries, where that is necessary. But that does not necessarily mean that there will be a lack of cover elsewhere in any of the county.
Darren Miller.
First Minister, the problems in the ambulance service, of course, aren't confined to Brecon and Radnorshire. In fact, what we've found is that there are problems across Wales, including in Bodlwyddan, where 13 hospitals were stacked up outside the hospital.
Darren Miller, I've cut your microphone off. Darren Miller, I've cut your microphone off because we are talking about Brecon and Radnorshire and not too many examples of other geographical areas.
I'm merely making the point that the ambulance service is under pressure.
Please move on with the question.
As a result, largely, of the record-breaking cuts which your government has imposed upon the Welsh National Health Service. What action are you taking to remedy that situation, to ensure that our unscheduled care performance can improve, and what lessons can you learn from looking across the border where the performance of the ambulance service is a darn sight better than here in Wales?
Well, I mean, I think it's important that where somebody is on the front bench of any party, that they understand that Bodlwyddan is not in Brecon and Radnorshire. I think that's clearly a requirement, I would say. But he gives a about record-breaking cuts. Forgetting, of course, the fact his own party's imposed cuts of £20 billion on the NHS in England. Of course, in England, they're called efficiencies, but the effect is very much the same. Smoke and mirrors is what we see there. And we know, of course, in terms of the audit office, that they have said that reliance should not be placed on the figures that are used in England, particularly for referral to treatment times. So we take no lessons from the party opposite. We know that in their heart of hearts, the NHS is simply not important to them.
Simon Thomas.
Diolch, Llywydd. Does dim ysbyty cyffredinol chwaith tu fewn I ffiniau bycheiniog y maes yfed na Powys, ac felly mae cleifion yn goffa cael ei cludo I ysbytau cyfagos, ac wrth gwrs mae ysbytau yna a hyn y byd o dan adolygiad o bonglais rhaid lawr I De Cymru. Nawr, tu fewn I cyd-destun hwnna, mae'r gwasanaeth ambulans wedi cyfaddau y byddai I cleifion treulio mwy o amser yn cael ei cludo ymhellach. Ac maen nhw'n benodol wedi cyfaddau y bydd hwn yn golygu mwy o hyfforddiant a mwy o sgiliau a gyfyfau o'r staff. Gan fod y gwasanaeth ambulans yn dioddau eisoes o salwch sy'n dwywaith mwy na gwasanaeth y bris eraill megis y heddlu, am ha ffordd I chi mynd I sicrhau prif weinidog bod y staff a sgiliau angen reidiod yna a gyfer y teithiau hirach yma mewn ambulansau sy'n dod yn sgil a drefnu ysbytau.
Wel, dau beth, wrth gwrs, dyw e ddim yn dilyn y bydd bobl yn goffod trefili ymhellach mewn ambulans, achos y ffaith mae'r ambulans awyr yna ar gael. Mae hwnna wedi bod yn wir ym Mhywys os amser hir, a wy'n gwybod, wrth gwrs, bod yn hollol naturiol ar enghraifft ym Mhywys I argyfyngau ynglyn â genedigaeth babis.
Question 2, Jenny Rathbone. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm just
Excuse
wondering
me,
why...
could you just withdraw? I do beg your pardon, First Minister.
I do need to answer the question.
Right.
Bod argyfyngau ynglyn â babis, wrth gwrs, yn cael ei drin lle mae'r mamau yn mynd I ysbytau yn Lloegr, neu weithiau yng Nghymru yn yr ambulans awyr. So felly, mae hwnna'n bosib, wrth gwrs, I bobl. Mae'n credu bod sgiliau da gan y paramedics yn barod gyda ni yng Nghymru, ond lle, wrth gwrs, bydd rhaid I ystyried, ail ystyried y sgiliau sydd gyda nhw, byddwn ni'n erbyn, wrth gwrs, i'r ymddiriedolaeth I wneud hynny.
Question 2, Jenny Rathbone.
Diolch, Clary. What can the Welsh Government do to ensure that local authorities are future-proofing public services to deliver more with less for the foreseeable future?
Well, each local authority, of course, is responsible for ensuring the sustainability of the services that it delivers to individuals, families and communities, but we are supporting local authorities to do this through legislation, through policy and funding, of course, aligned to the programme for government.
The recent WAO report on the financial challenges facing local authorities indicates that only a quarter are looking beyond the immediate budget setting process. And when we know that this is something that's going to affect, it's not just a short-term challenge. So what can we do to promote a much more strategic conversation with local communities as to what services communities want and how we can deliver them sustainably?
Well, of course, it's for local authorities to deliver those services that are within their responsibilities, but as the member will know, the government's view is that there needs to be a restructuring of local government in Wales. Once that process is done, I believe it'll be far more it'll be a situation where services are far more able to be delivered sustainably and safely in the future than is the case now.
Marcus Wood.
Thank you. Well, Co-Production Wales has said that future-proofing of services requires a change in service delivery, breaking down barriers between people who provide services and those who use them. How, therefore, do you respond to their call for explicit links between service providers and citizens and communities, designing, delivering services together and sharing budgets?
Well, it's important, of course, there is collaboration and budget sharing where that is appropriate. And, of course, we would seek to ensure that where services are made available to members of the public, either via local authorities or other public bodies, that they work with the service recipients in order to ensure the service is appropriate for their individual.
Alan Fred Jones.
Diolch yn fawr. Gan gyfeirio at yr un adroddiad ac o Jenny Rathbon yn sôn amdano, mae'r swyddfa archwilio'n feirniadol iawn o fethiant awdurdodau lleol I fynd i'r afael gyda'r heriadau. Ond wrth disgrifio arfer da mewn un cyngor, mae'n dweud mae'r cyngor yn cael bydd o arweinyddiaeth ariannol gadarn ac mae wedi profi crynlwyddiant o ran cynllunio'n effeithiol ar gyfer y dyfodol. Fyddwch chi'n ymuno fi ilon gyfarch yr arweinyddiaeth a'r swyddogion yng Nghyngor Gwynedd ar ei gweledigaethau llwyddiant?
O'n I ddim yn gweld yna'n dod, wrth gwrs, o bell. Wel, gai roi y clod I unrhyw awdurdod lleol sydd yn sicrhau bod nhw'n deall beth yw'r heriau, ac wrth gwrs mae hwnna'n wir o Wynedd, a mae'n wir wrth gwrs o sawl awdurdod arall.
We now move to questions from the party leaders, and this afternoon first is Plaid Cymru, Liam Wood.
Diolch Llywydd. First Minister, last week the South Wales programme revealed its proposals for the withdrawal of critical health services from some of our hospitals, and you have fully supported their plans, and you've repeatedly claimed that medical professionals themselves support centralisation. Now that Cwm Taf Health Board has voiced unprecedented opposition to the proposals for the Royal Glamorgan, confirming that there is no universal consensus among medical professionals, will the final decision on the future of the Royal Glamorgan Hospital now be made by the Minister for Health?
Yes, Minister for Health, of course, has the responsibility to ensure that the health service is safe and sustainable in the future.
Thank you for your answer, First Minister. It has become clear that the consensus that you claimed on this matter never did exist. There isn't consensus even in your own party. The current Member of Parliament for the Rhondda is saying that he is not happy and that assumptions that were made in the reaching of the hospital downgrade proposals are a mistake. I've good reason to believe also that there are members of your own party sitting behind you who share those views. First Minister, will you show some leadership today now and assure us that we won't see any more Labour Party banners proclaiming your party's opposition to the South Wales programme? Will you give us an undertaking that your party will be straight with people on health from now on?
Well, we have been straight with people. The question is, your party hasn't been on any number of occasions. And I have to say, of course, the Health Minister will take decisions with regard to the final structure if certain circumstances are met. We hope, of course, that there will be agreement. If there is not agreement, that will have to be looked at. Or, of course, if there's a referral by a CHC, that will have to be looked at. But what we want, of course, is to ensure that there is a sustainable health service across the whole of that part of South Wales in the future. And that means looking at every hospital, not just focusing on the Royal Glamorgan as she does.
You will know, First Minister, that most attempts at reconfiguration are now ending up with costly judicial reviews, and it's likely that the South Wales proposals will end up in the courts too. First Minister, your party is split. Your plans have been rejected by the public. Senior health managers are in disagreement, as are medics. First Minister, this situation is a mess that you could end right now. Instead of pushing your deeply unpopular hospital centralisation plans, don't you think now is the time to focus instead on boosting NHS recruitment, sorting out our ambulance service and merging health and social care as proposed by Plaid Cymru?
Well, I mean, the problem that she has, of course, is that we're trying to create a health service in Wales that will be attractive for people to work in. What she wants is no change, and she will see a complete collapse of services in time. And all the time they claim to say that consultants don't support what the government is doing. The majority of consultants do, that's a fact. You should talk to more consultants, as I do, the whole of South Wales, and you will understand that they will say to you, it's important that we have hospitals that are able to offer the right level of training, that there is enough throughput of cases, which you can't increase artificially. It's important, of course, that doctors find a hospital that is able to offer them an opportunity to practice. What she wants is a second-class health service. She wants hospitals that are staffed with doctors that aren't properly trained, or doctors, or hospitals that are understaffed, but that's more important than having hospitals that have the doctors with the right level of expertise. And I'll give her one example. Her party, what was their view on the centralisation of stomach and esophageal cancer operations? They were against it. What happened? 20% increase in survival rates. 20% increase. But they would rather keep services local, even if those services are worse than where you can create services and centres of excellence, rather than saying to the people of Wales, there are some conditions that have to be centralised in order that more people should live. And that's the important aspect here. For her party, what's more important is they're able to play political games rather than deliver services. That will ensure that more people have a better outcome. That is secondary to their own considerations.
We now move to the Leader of Welsh Liberal Democrats, Kirsty Williams.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. First Minister, last April I asked you about the number of ambulances waiting hours outside A&E departments. And 10 months ago you told me you were, and I quote, seeing what could be done to alleviate the situation. I have figures that show that in December there were over 2,000 occasions when it took more than an hour to turn around an ambulance. Are you still looking for the solution?
Yes, 85% of people at the last count particularly do get into hospital within an hour. There will be occasions where people have to wait longer, but we're certainly not in the situation that has existed in some hospitals in England, for example, where there are serial occasions when ambulances are waiting.
First Minister, I don't know what your definition of serial is, but we had over 2,000 incidents in 1 month alone. That sounds like pretty serial to me. Now, today we hear that the number of ambulance service staff who are off sick with stress has increased 16% on last year, and serious concerns have been raised about the frustration at waiting outside hospitals, watching patients deteriorate in the back of their ambulances. Last May, the Health Minister acknowledged this problem and said that tackling stress for ambulance staff was his priority. What have you done to reduce the pressure on hard-working paramedics and ambulance service staff?
Well, can I say that for the last month, 40% fewer patients waiting over an hour for handover than there were in March 2013. We, of course, continue to monitor the situation. Between March and December of last year, there was a 4.7% improvement in the percentage of patients being admitted, discharged or transferred within 4 hours from arrival at A&E. 12-hour waits have reduced by over 60% since March and December of 2013. And yes, she talks about people having to wait, and she mentions figures in the thousands. 940,000 people attend emergency departments every year in Wales. 940,000. The vast majority of those people get good treatment at the right time. Where that doesn't happen, it's important, of course, that government looks to see how things can be improved, but let's put this in context.
First Minister, but it didn't actually answer the question about what you've done since last May to reduce the stress on paramedic and ambulance staff. Now, despite what you said earlier, and you don't seem to understand, but senior ambulance trust managers have admitted that in order to adequately cope with NHS reorganisation, more paramedics will be needed because services are moving. Will you commit on behalf of your government today to making sure that the Welsh Ambulance Service has all the resources that it needs in order to make sure that patients are not put at risk and are delivered to hospitals in a timely manner following the centralisation of the services your government is presiding over?
Well, let me see if I can patronise her back. She will understand, no doubt, that we are training more paramedics because we do understand the point that she makes. But what she doesn't seem to grasp is the fact that the vast majority of patients are seen within an hour, they're transferred within an hour. There will be occasions, and there have been occasions, of course, where patients, well, she says 2,000 out of 940,000 people attending emergency departments in Wales, there are 2,000 people in that category. I'm not saying that that is something we find acceptable in an ongoing moving forward. Of course not. But it does show the vast majority of people are treated in good time and receive good treatment. Yes, we are training more paramedics, but let's make sure that we understand that when it comes to the NHS in Wales, the vast majority of people receive a good service. It's not just us saying that, it's the patient service that tell us that as well.
We now move to the Leader of the Opposition, Andrew Davis.
Thank you. It's good to hear so much cheering from the benches opposite.
Order, order. Order. I'm very interested to know what the Leader of the Opposition is going to say this afternoon. So,
actually, on the levity point, I would like to ask the First Minister about the reports today on the Ian Watkins case, about the failure of children's services in Rhondda and Taff and other services that are charged with protecting young people against such allegations and their lack of response when concerns were raised at a very early stage, as I'm led to believe. Does the First Minister believe that the services as configurated did all they could to assist in addressing the concerns that were raised on this particular issue?
Well, these concerns have been raised today. I think it's right that those concerns are given the fullest consideration, and I'm sure the Minister will do that.
I'm grateful for the First Minister's answer on that. If the concerns are substantiated, and I see no reason for what I've seen that the concerns will not be substantiated, will the Welsh Government be instigating an inquiry into the failure to address these concerns and actually making sure that the safeguards are there to make sure that these horrendous crimes are not perpetrated on other children across Wales, leave alone in the Rhondda and Taff area?
Well, it's difficult to make that prediction yet. Bear in mind, of course, that the police are allegedly involved here and they are not devolved. And we have no power to call the police to account when it comes to any kind of inquiry. That was a problem that we've met before in looking at other situations. So I think what needs to happen is that this needs to be looked at very, very carefully, and of course consideration will be given to ensuring that the public can have confidence in the system that exists in RCT and in other public authorities in the future.
Thank you for that answer, First Minister. Do you not think a serious case review would be a way of pulling all the agencies together to look at the allegations, irrespective of whether it's devolved or non-devolved? I mean, in fairness, I think many people outside this institution really won't be that concerned about where responsibility lies. They just want to make sure that the safeguards are in place and action is taken to address some of the very real concerns, as I said, that have been raised today. And I do believe, and I take your word, First Minister, that the Minister will look at this, but I do believe the Welsh Government have a key role in instigating such a review and taking the lead on it as the main executive body here in Wales.
Well, as I said to the Leader of the Opposition earlier, this is something I'm sure the Minister will be, well, I know the Minister will be looking at with a view to determining the best way forward, but where such allegations are raised, it's important that they're investigated fully. I'm with him in that regard.
Question 3, Rebecca Evans.
Will the First Minister make a statement on the provision of unscheduled care?
Yes, the increased focus placed on winter planning over the past 10 years means that resilience in the system is better than ever. We see that over the course of what's happened over the past few months, and significant improvements have been achieved by NHS Wales when compared to the relevant performance indicators.
Thank you, First Minister. How will the Health Board currently discussing the future provision of A&E services at Withybush? Will you confirm that the Health Board is only looking at 24/7 provision and that there are no plans to reduce A&E to a 12-hour service?
I can say that the local health board has confirmed that they wish to see 24/7 emergency cover continue at Withybush General Hospital.
Angela Burns.
Thank you for that. Following on from Rebecca Evans' nicely thought through question and answer. Minister, perhaps you would care to tell us what effect you will think will happen to A&E as paediatrics is now being sucked to Glangwili and there will be less and less paediatric cover given in Withybush. Paediatrics, as you know, take up 25% of most A&Es, and without paediatrics going through that hospital, then A&E at Withybush will have no option but to have a reconfiguration of hours. And some honesty in this discussion from the Health Board to a public who are already very, very upset by the changes that are going on to health in the Pembrokeshire area would be much, much appreciated. The Minister promised us clarity and transparency, a lesson the Health Board have yet to learn.
Well, I can only repeat what I said in answer to the member previously, and that is that 24/7 emergency care is the wish of Hywel Dda when it comes to future services at Withybush.
Lindsay Whittle.
Diolch, Llywydd. Minister, I read recently that some patients wander into A&E with complaints such as hiccups. Some patients going to A&E as many as 40 times a year. What efforts is the Welsh Government taking to persuade people to visit their GP rather than wander into A&E or phone 999 for this unscheduled care? It's not necessary. People need to be educated.
The member's quite right. The difficulty is, of course, that A&E is the only area of the health service that cannot turn people away. I've spoken at length to A&E consultants in my own hospital, and they've often told me stories of how people will come to them and there's nothing wrong with them, but also people have been to their GP 4 or 5 times, and they come to A&E because they say, I've been to see my GP hasn't done anything, so I'm coming to see you now instead, and there's nothing wrong with them, of course. The estimate they place on the number of people in that category is between 1/3 and 40% of the people who come to A&E. So that's why, of course, the Health Minister has been absolutely clear in terms of what he has said, that people should not attend A&E unless they absolutely have to. It's important, of course, that people are able to access GP services at a time that's convenient to them. That's why, of course, we have continued to roll out access to GPs at evenings and weekends. And I've seen this happening, where GPs are now available in the evenings, and particularly those GP practices that offer nurses as part of the practice. They're able to deal with a lot of the minor injuries as well, to take the pressure off A&E. So, yes, people need to ensure they don't go to A&E unless absolutely necessary, but it's also important, of course, that we continue to roll out services with GPs that are available at a time that's convenient to the public.
Question 4, Janet Finch-Saunders.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Will the First Minister make a statement on the Young Recruits programme?
Yes, it's been a great success. Demand's been extremely high, and we've already exceeded the target for this financial year.
Thank you, First Minister, and I too would endorse that it has been an excellent initiative for both job seekers and small employers alike. However, in recent months, I have received a number of concerns in relation to some of the lengthy delays in the payment processes, in particular to our sole traders and very small businesses. In the July 2013 evaluation process, weaknesses were identified as inaccurate information sent to employers regarding funding criteria, under-resourcing of programme administration, which was leaving small businesses working with very tight margins and low disposable revenues really struggling to participate. First Minister, will you work with your Deputy Minister to speed up these processes so that our employers and all our job seekers who want to take advantage of this initiative can do so?
Yes, I mean, the programme is an exceptionally successful Welsh Government programme, of course, and we very much welcome the fact that so many people have benefited from it. And working with the Minister, we will, of course, to continue to ensure that the programme moves from success to success.
Rhys Iorwerth.
Diolch, Llywydd. We in Plaid Cymru are very pleased to have been a real driving force working with your government to greatly increase the number of apprenticeships. Do you, First Minister, agree that oversubscription of the Young Recruits programme shows that the government needs to take urgent action now to further extend the programme, including increasing the number of higher level apprenticeships?
Well, I mean, that's a bid for the next budget, I suspect. But we're very pleased, of course, that the programme has been working very well. We acknowledge the agreement that was made at the time of the last budget. And, of course, we acknowledge the supreme success of Jobs Growth Wales, which has a success rate of over 80% in terms of attracting young people into apprenticeships and permanent employment.
Elena Parrott.
Diolch, Llywydd. First Minister, how many of the young people who do successfully complete a Jobs Growth Wales placement transfer directly into the Young Recruits programme?
I don't have that figure, but what I can tell you is that the vast majority of them do get a permanent job. Those that don't, many of them go into education or into another apprenticeship. It shows the great success of the scheme, particularly compared to schemes that have existed elsewhere in Britain.
Question 5, Paul Davis.
Diolch, Llywydd. A wnaeth y Prif Weinidog ddatganiad am wasanaethau yn ysbyty Llwynhelig?
Wel, bydd ysbyty Llwynhelig yn parhau i chwarae rôl hanfodol ar ran darparu gwasanaethau iechyd I bobl Sir Benfro.
Prif Weinidog, bythefnos yn ôl gofynes I chi ynglyn ag israddio gwasanaethau yn ysbyty Llwynhelig yn dilyn penderfyniad eich llywodraeth chi gair uned gofal arbennig I fybanod yn yr ysbyty. Nawr, yn eich ymateb, agrymwch chi bod penderfyniad y gweinidog iechyd yn cael ei gefnogi gan holl feddygon, fodd bynnag dwi wedi derbyn copïau o lythyrau oddi wrth feddygon teulu o Sir Benfro at y gweinidog a'r bwrdd iechyd yn dweud fel arall. Anwch chi achub ar y cyfle hwn I egluro mwyn y cofnod nad oedd y penderfyniad y gweinidog yn cael y cefnogaeth gan holl feddygon yr ardal.
Wel, ysym siw beth, mae da fi fan hyn, a record, a allai weid beth mae'n gweud, sef mae'n benderfyniad sydd wedi cael ei wneud ynglyn ag argymell doctoriaid, sef rhywun wrth gwrs oedd y panel. Mae'n mynd ymlaen I ddweud, wrth gwrs, taw barn doctoriaid yw bod rhaid I newid y system. Hwna'n wir ynglyn ag colegau, a'n fwyaf o doctoriaid. Ag wrth gwrs, mae'r argymhellion cryf o ddoctoriaid ar y panel sydd yn gweud bod newid yn goffod digwydd. Does neb yn dadle, dim call yn dadle fy marn I y dylai fod yna 2 uned lefel 2 yng Nghyfyrddin a Llwynhelig. Y dadl yw ymble dylai'r uned I fod. Dadl yr aelod yw dylai'r uned I fod yn Llwynhelig a nid yng Nglangwili. Wedi wedi gweud na felly iddi gymydog sydd yn eistedd dros nesaf iddo fe. Mae'r argymhellion a'r penderfyniad wedi cael ei wneud ar sail beth sy'n gorau, sydd yn orau, mwyn sicrhau gwasanaeth sydd yn saff ac yn gynaliadwy yn y dyfodol. Dyw e ddim yn onest nac yn wir I weid bod hwn wedi bod yn benderfyniad sydd yn hollol wleidyddol. Mae'n benderfyniad wedi cael ei wneud ar sail tystiolaeth sydd wedi dod o feddygon, ar sail beth mae'r colegau wedi gweud, ag ar sail argymhellion sydd wedi dod o banel oedd yn edrych ar hwn yn ffordd hollol niwtral a hollol objectif. Ym mha ffordd allu gweinidog wedi gwneud penderfyniad wahanol, dwi ddim yn gwybod, a hefyd cadw system sydd yn saff ag yn gynaliadwy.
Simon Thomas.
Diolch, Llywydd. Prif Weinidog, wrth drafod yr unedau gofal bris yn ardal Hywel Dda, fe dyfynodd y bwrdd iechyd dogfen gan coleg meddygyniaeth bris The Way Ahead, oedd yn gweud yn glir iawn I gael uned bris 24 awr y hugain y diwrnod, oedd wedi hwnna cael ei gefnogi gan 7 arbenigedd, ac ymysg y 7 arbenigedd hwnnw mae paediatrics. Nawr, mae paediatrics eisoes wedi cael ei dofi, neu bwfiad wedi cael ei dofi, o 24 awr y diwrnod I 20 awr y diwrnod yn ysbyty Llwynhelig. Ydych chi wir yn credu, ac ydych chi wir o'r fan, y bydd uned bris 4 awr y hugain y diwrnod yn parhau yn Llwynhelig? Wel,
ddim yn ymhellach yn ateb roi sy'n yn gynharach, a dyna beth yw barn y bwrdd iechyd lleol, a dyna beth maen nhw wedi dweud wrthon ni, bod y moyn sicrhau bod yna wasanaeth pob dydd trwy'r dydd ar gael yn yr ysbyty, a bod y gwasanaeth hynny yn wasanaeth ynglyn ag argyfyngau.
Question 6, Linigo.
What discussions has the First Minister had with the Minister for Health and Social Services in relation to the neurological conditions delivery plan?
Well, the Minister has advised me that his consultation on a neurological conditions delivery plan has now closed, and his intention is to publish the final plan in April.
First Minister, while I welcome the delivery plan, I am deeply concerned about the lack of community-based rehab services for brain-injured patients in Gwent, despite their availability in other parts of Wales. I have several constituents affected by this alarming lack of provision. And while I'm pleased that the Health Board are planning to establish a local service, detailed plans have been in place for a while and progress does appear to be painfully slow. First Minister, I'm sure you can understand what a difference this tailored multi-agency support can make to patients with brain injuries. Will you look at this issue with the Health Minister with a view to urgently ending this serious inequity in provision affecting my constituents?
Well, clearly that's unacceptable, and that's one of the reasons why the Minister has decided to develop the delivery plan to help drive improvements across Wales. I understand that you have corresponded with Andrew Goodall, the Chief Executive of Aneurin Bevan, on this matter, and he has set out the Health Board's plans to improve the provision of services.
Nick Ramsey.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I'll have to practice throwing my voice from my new position. First Minister, the Neurological Conditions Delivery Plan was launched last year to help people living with a range of neurological conditions, as you've just mentioned. The Chief Executive of the NHS in Wales has said that it's not going to work unless local government and the voluntary sector, the third sector, all work together to make sure that it actually works on the ground. What are you doing to make sure that all of these different factors are coming together to proceed this very important plan?
I'm tempted to say that I'll text the answer to the member, but I'll afford him greater courtesy than that and say, of course, the plan is designed to ensure that all the relevant bodies work together in order to ensure the plan is delivered properly, and that's why, of course, the plan is in place.
Ellen Jones.
Prif Weinidog, mewn rhai ardaloedd, does na ddim gwasanaeth nyrs arbenigol epilepsi, ac mae Hywel Dda yn un o'r ardaloedd hynny. Mae yna gais ariannol ar hyn o bryd sy'n cael ei ddatblygu am nyrs epilepsi yn ardal Gorllewin. Ydych chi'n cytuno gyda fi ar gyfer cyflyrau arbenigol o'r math yma fod yn bwysig fod yna gefnogaeth ymarferol arbenigol gan nyrsys arbenigol ar gael le bynnag mae rhywun yn byw yng Nghymru?
Wel, ynglyn â ymhaffordd yna'n ymarferol, byddwn ni mewn sicrhau wrth gwrs bod yna ddigon o nyrsys o'r arbenigedd yna ar gael ar draws Cymru, mwyn sicrhau bod pobl yn gallu cael y triniaeth sydd eisiau arnyn nhw, ond wrth gwrs mae rhaid ni i ystyried faint ohonyn nhw sydd ar gael, ystyried faint sydd eisiau yn y dyfodol, ac ystyried wrth gwrs y sefyllfa ariannol, ond wrth gweud hynny, allai neb darle yn erbyn un sydd yn gweud bod rhaid ni sicrhau bod na ddigon ohonyn nhw ar gael.
Aled Roberts.
Diolch Llywydd. Prif Weinidog, bu gryn dathlu pan lansiwyd cyfarwyddyd cenedlaethol ar epilepsi yng Nghymru yn 2009. Mae yna ganllawiau newydd gan NICE ers 2012. Hynny, does na ddim diweddariad. Mae yna cryn dipyn o farnu ynglyn â pa mor effeithiol mae'r byrddau iechyd wedi bod yn gweithredu'r canllawiau cenedlaethol. A fydd epilepsi'n cael ei gynnwys o fewn y cynllun niwrolegol neu a fyddech chi fel Llywodraeth yn diweddaru canllawiau epilepsi?
Wel, gai ddweud wrth yr aelod bod hwn yn gwestiwn sydd yn holl bwysig, wrth gwrs, wedi bod yn gwestiwn gallu ofyn yn yr un modd ar aelod dros geledigion. Gai ofyn felly i'r Gweinidog Iechyd i ysgrifennu at yr aelodau mwyn sicrhau bod ymwneud ar gael.
Question 7, Russell George.
Joe Flowey. Will the First Minister make a statement on the effects that recent severe weather conditions have had on communities in Wales?
Yes, our responder agencies have worked hard to put their plans into action to reduce the impact of the recent severe weather. I would like, as I'm sure all members would, to express sympathy to the communities and the individuals who have experienced the full force of the recent storms. But nevertheless, given the difficulty surrounding the weather and the sheer force of the weather, I believe that we managed to deal with it as efficiently as possible.
Thank you, First Minister. I appreciate your answer. For those communities in Wales who have been affected, particularly by the loss of power to thousands of homes and businesses, what they rightfully want to know is what support they will be getting. And can I ask what your government is doing to help to secure that support? What discussions have you had with energy companies about potential bill reductions to properties that have been affected? And have you examined a package of business rate reductions for those businesses that have been significantly affected by the impact of the severe weather?
Well, of course, local authorities are able to put bids to the Welsh Government in order to receive extra funding with regard to the weather. Of course, we're in the fortunate position that we invested in our flood defences, whereas we saw a 28% cut in flood defences in England, and we see what the result of that was. And I'm sure the people of Wales appreciate the fact that we have not seen the level of flooding that unfortunately some in England have had, despite the fact the weather's been exactly the same. It's right to say that at one point on Wednesday, last week, 100,000 homes were without power. That situation was rectified very, very quickly, and I'd like to pay tribute to the power companies for making sure that people weren't left without power for many, many days, and of course, Natural Resources Wales for ensuring that people weren't left in floodwater for many, many weeks.
Llyw Griffith.
Diolch Llywydd. Wrthos diwetha, mi nes I ymweld â ffarmwr yn Nyffryn Clwyd sydd wedi clirio miloedd o dinelli o foncyffion coed, brigau, canghennec yn y blaen o'r gorlifdir ar yr elwy ac ar yr afon Clwyd. Fyddwch chi, dwi'n siŵr, yn ymwybodol bod yna gyfyngiadau ar bont Rhyddland ar hyn o bryd oherwydd difrod sydd wedi cael ei achosi gan y deunyddiau yma yn cael ei dal I fyny o dan y bont ac yn creu difrod. Mae'r un peth yn wir yn Llanelwy hefyd. Dwi wedi codi gyda'r gweinidog perthnasol yr angen I wneud mwy I ganiatáu ffermwyr fynd I rafel ar rhai o'r problemau yma sydd yn achosi difrod I is-deitlau ni. A newch chi roi ymrwymiad y bydd y Llywodraeth yn symud mor fuan ac sy'n bosib I ddatblygu cynlluniau o'r fath mwyn osgoi y math yna o ddifrod yn y dyfodol.
O, ni'n wir, mae'n ar ôl allweddol wrth gwrs gan ffermwyr ynglyn â sicrhau bod llifogydd ddim yn digwydd. A chi wedi sôn am y ffaith bod drafodaeth wedi cymryd lle gyda'r gweinidog, a wy'n sylw bydd y gweinidog yn sicrhau bod os mae yna ragor o help gallu cael ei roi I ffermwyr, felly bydd yr help yna ar gael mor gyntaf sy'n bosib.
Question 8, Bethan Jenkins.
Will the Welsh Government establish a full public inquiry into care standards at Abertawe Bro Morgannwg University Health Board and its predecessors over the past 25 years?
Well, 25 years is a very, very long time in terms of any potential inquiry. What I can say to the member is that a number of steps have been taken to meet the concerns that have been expressed. An external team is reviewing the quality and safety of the Princess of Wales Hospital. The Chief Executive personally chairs a Princess of Wales Hospital Quality and Safety Steering Group. On the 7th of February, the board announced a series of concerns clinics to enable patients and indeed relatives to discuss those issues with members of staff. Nurse staffing levels on medical wards have been increased to enable compliance with the expectations set by the Chief Nursing Officer. New clinical and executive managerial arrangements are now in place at the Princess of Wales Hospital, and of course there has been put in place a review into 2 hospitals in the local health board area. They were announced of course by the Minister for Health last year. So a number of actions have been put in place in order to deal with people's concerns, and it's important of course that what has been put in place has an opportunity to report back to the Minister and to identify any problems that might yet remain.
Thank you for that answer, but it is still plain that neither those families who have recently come forward nor those who continue to fight for answers, such as the parents of Robbie Powell, are happy with the solutions offered so far. If a health service is about caring for patients, then ensuring that their families are happy about their care is a paramount issue, I believe. You said last week in First Minister's questions that AMs who call for a public inquiry are doing so at the drop of a hat, and I believe that this is insulting to the parents and families of those who have lost people in the ABMU area. Many of the reviews that you have commissioned may add up to be more costly than a public inquiry could be, Minister. So therefore, do you not believe that the cry from the parents, the families of patients is not worthy enough for you as a government to enact upon their demand and have a full public inquiry?
I didn't say those calling for a public inquiry were doing so at the drop of a hat. I said you were calling for a public inquiry at the drop of a hat, and I'll explain what I mean by that. The member mentions the case of Robbie Powell. That is a case that has been well aired in this chamber. The case of Robbie Powell is tragic. Mr Powell and his family were treated appallingly. We all understand that. There was an investigation that took place. A number of events occurred which made it very difficult for Mr Powell and his family. I spoke to the GMC, I spoke to the police, I spoke to the CPS, I initiated the investigation, and there was an apology, and rightly so, from Welsh Government. It's very difficult to know what else can be done, although Mr Powell quite rightly is angry and upset about the loss of his son, even after all these years, and I understand that. But I have to say to the member many of the people who were at the meeting that took place in Bridgend are people I have been dealing with for some years. I've done the hard work in terms of dealing with them, in terms of listening to their concerns, in terms of taking their concerns forward as a constituency assembly member. She only became interested a fortnight ago when she went to the meeting. There are some members, of course, who do the hard work, and there are some who jump on a bandwagon, and that is exactly what she's done.
Byron Davis.
First Minister, I find myself agreeing with Bethan Jenkins' request for a full public inquiry into care standards at Abertawe Morgannwg University. And following on from that, I want to unashamedly reiterate our request for a full keyhole style NHS inquiry in Wales, which would of course pick up the specific concerns that constituents have about care standards within our local health board. So we've called for it, First Minister, again and again. But more importantly, it will save lives and improve our NHS. So why will you not agree to it and clear the air once and for all?
Sorry, I thought it was a resignation speech. I thought we were going to have it now rather than this afternoon, but we all expect it. But there we are. Can I say to the member, there is no need for a Keogh-style inquiry. That's a politically driven matter, as he knows. And it's a great shame that he and other members didn't take an interest in many of the people in Bridgend who had their concerns, and that they had not taken interest before the meeting took place, as many of us did. And so my concern, as somebody in whose constituency the Princess of Wales Hospital is, as somebody who lives in Bridgend, is to make sure that what has happened at the hospital is thoroughly investigated in order to ensure that public confidence is there in the future. From that, we will not shy away. It is important that what has been put in place is able to report back, and then, of course, it'll be possible for the government to decide what happens next. But restoring public confidence will be important for many of us who live in that town, even when other members have moved on to other issues.
Peter Black.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. First Minister, we've all heard your refusal to hold a public inquiry, and we are aware, of course, that you've dealt with many of the cases which were raised at that public meeting in Bridgend on the 30th of January. Can you give an assurance, therefore, then, that the current inquiry which is taking place into Bridgend, the hospital in Bridgend, which you have initiated, will be able to take evidence and talk to all those people who gave who spoke at that public meeting and who were not able to speak at that public meeting because they were not able to do so because and have those concerns, will be able to take into account their views and their problems as part of that inquiry?
I think it's important that the inquiries are as broad as possible. The member will know, of course, about the inquiry taken forward by June Andrews. It's important, of course, that inquiry commands the support of the families involved and is able to listen to the families' concerns as broadly and as thoroughly as possible. I think that's very, very important. It's clearly in the interests of all that what has been put in place investigates thoroughly what has happened at the hospitals. It's important that there are lessons learned in terms of the future, and it's absolutely crucial that there is public confidence, not just in terms of the families directly involved, but indeed all those who live in the area. And I know the member shares my view in terms of that, to ensure, of course, that what seems to have happened in years gone by in some parts of the hospital is certainly not repeated in the future.
Question 9, Gwyn Price.
Thank you, Clywyd. Will the First Minister make a statement on the Welsh Government in supporting the construction industry in Wales?
Well, we are committed to supporting the construction sector in Wales and, of course, working with the construction sector panel. And, of course, we want to continue to ensure that we develop the appropriate packages to grow the sector in the future.
Well, thank you for that answer. First Minister, recent construction data in Wales has been very encouraging. Do you agree with me that the recent announced shared equity scheme can only further encourage house building in Wales?
Well, I mean, the index of production for Wales shows a 3.1% increase when comparing the last 4 quarters to the previous 4 quarters, while the UK dropped by 1.6%. So it shows, of course, that the Welsh Government is delivering in terms of the economy, in terms of house building, and indeed, of course, the 2,000 jobs that were announced yesterday with Pinewood Studios, one of the largest inward investment projects Wales has seen for many, many years. Done without the WDA, may I add, to the party opposite. And I'm sure all members will welcome the work that was done by Edwina Hart and her department in bringing into Wales, despite fierce competition from other countries, a significant investment project. So can I say to the member, yes, Help to Buy Wales is an exceptionally important scheme. There are close to 250 expressions of interest, but it shows when it comes to housing, when it comes to construction, and when it comes to attracting investment, Wales is at the top of the league.
William Graham.
Clearly, First Minister, with the expansion in the construction industry, there will be a large number of firms of tradesmen right across Wales who wish to take part in that. At one time, your government used to employ a rather curious, how can we put it, restriction on such firms, that if the contract they applied for was more than 50% of their turnover, they're denied further progress in the tender progress. Does that still occur?
Well, I would need to investigate that thoroughly for the member. It may be that there are other factors that we have to take into account as a government, particularly with regard to procurement rules, but I'll ensure the Minister writes to the member with a full answer.
Jocelyn Davis.
Yes, thank you, Presiding Officer. The construction industry, of course, is, as you mentioned, highly reliant on house building. A recent survey by the Money Advice Service found that 3/4 of new first-time buyers had stretched themselves to buy the home, with nearly 40% losing sleep due to their current money worries. And that's, of course, because they'd underestimated the true costs. What safeguards do you have within the Help to Buy Wales scheme that ensures first-time buyers can not just afford to buy, but also afford to live within the homes that they've chosen?
Well, of course, what we want to ensure is that those who buy under the Help to Buy Wales scheme are able to service the debts that they will get under the mortgage. We would expect them, of course, to receive advice from the financial institutions, and we expect those institutions to provide advice that is sound. Nevertheless, it's important that people have the ability to buy houses. That is a dream for many, many people, though I take the member's point. It's important that people don't stretch themselves, particularly at a time when interest rates are historically low. They may well not remain that way in the future, and then, of course, the squeeze comes on many, many families. So it's important that as people take out mortgages, they understand what might happen, and it's exceptionally important that the financial institutions provide that advice, as I'm sure most of them do.
Thank you, First Minister.